Let's dive right into this explainer. We all know the absolute thrill of the finish line, right? But today, we're going to look way beyond the medals. We're going to uncover the profound philosophy that actually built the stadium around those athletes.
Every 4 years, we flip on our screens and we're hit with this massive modern spectacle. I mean, we're talking exploding fireworks, roaring crowds, and just the absolute pinnacle of human physical exertion. It's this visual marvel of athleticism and national pride that literally captivates billions of us around the globe. But, that really challenges our baseline assumption. Is this massive global event purely about athletic dominance? Are we just trying to figure out who's the fastest, the highest, or the strongest? Or is there a deeper, underlying purpose, something that's kept this tradition alive and evolving for well over a century?
So here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll look at the philosophy of Olympism. Then, we'll hit the core Olympic values. Next, we trace the ancient roots to the modern games. After that, we'll decode the symbols, mottos, and anthems. And finally, we'll look at structuring the Olympic movement.
Section 1. The philosophy of Olympism, blending sport with culture and education.
Okay, so the crucial takeaway here is that Olympism isn't just about sports. It's a holistic philosophy, really a complete way of life. It's not just about running fast, it's about blending sport with culture, with education, and with international cooperation. According to the original principles, practicing sport is actually viewed as a fundamental human right, meaning every single individual must have the opportunity to play without discrimination of any kind.
And these philosophical ideas, they're put into direct, tangible action. The objectives are specifically designed to develop moral values, promote international peace, and totally end discrimination based on race, religion, or caste. So the games act as this profound educational tool. They're quite literally engineered to bring rich and poor nations together onto one unified platform of fair play.
Moving on to Section 2, the core Olympic values, more than athletic excellence.
Now these three pillars, friendship, excellence, and respect, they are absolutely the heartbeat of the games. They create this really unique harmony. Athletes are using the village and the competition itself to learn about other cultures, developing profound respect for one another. But at the exact same time, they're relentlessly pursuing excellence. They're pushing past physical and mental barriers to reach their absolute peak. But, and this is key, without letting that intense rivalry destroy their underlying friendship.
But the values don't stop there. We also have these extended concepts: the joy of effort, fair play, education, and finding a balance among body, will, and mind. Think about how applicable that is to you and me. You don't need to be an Olympic sprinter to find the joy of effort in your work or your studies. Finding real fulfillment in the process of just giving your best, regardless of the outcome. And maintaining a holistic balance in everyday life, those are things we can all absolutely strive for.
Section 3. Ancient Roots to Modern Games, the Evolution of the Olympics.
Let's step back in time to put this all into perspective. The ancient games began way back in 776 BC in Olympia, Greece. Originally, they were actually a religious festival honoring the Greek god Zeus, and they ran for centuries. That is, until 394 AD, when the Roman Emperor Theodosius abruptly banned them. Fast forward more than a millennium, and this visionary named Baron Pierre de Coubertin steps up. He establishes the International Olympic Committee in 1894, which directly sparks the miraculous revival of the modern Olympics in Athens just 2 years later, in 1896.
It is endlessly fascinating to contrast that ancient aesthetic with our modern analytics. On one hand, you've got ancient runners sprinting through a temple courtyard. And on the other, modern sprinters surrounded by high-tech, big data overlays and global broadcasting. It just goes to show that while the technology, the stadiums, and the sheer scale of the event have evolved dramatically, that underlying, raw human pursuit of greatness, it has remained totally identical across thousands of years.
All right, Section 4, symbols, mottos, and anthems, decoding the familiar.
Take the rings, for example. We've all seen them a million times. Designed by Pierre de Coubertin himself in 1913, these 5 interlocking rings, blue, black, red, yellow, and green, they aren't just a stylish logo. They literally represent the union of 5 continents: America, Africa, Australia, Asia, and Europe. They symbolize the meeting of athletes from all over the world, coming together on a white background, really demonstrating global cooperation and friendship.
And here's a great aha moment for you. For over a century, the famous Latin motto was Citius Altius Fortius, which means faster, higher, stronger. But notice how the 2021 edition of the word together, or communis in Latin, completely shifts the entire focus. Added during the Tokyo session, this update perfectly captures the evolution of the games.
It shifts the ultimate goal away from purely individual glory, straight toward global solidarity.
Then we have the Olympic Oath. It's taken by a host country representative on behalf of all the athletes right at the start of the Games. And this specific excerpt powerfully demonstrates the modern, zero-tolerance stance on doping and an unwavering commitment to fair play. It's a public promise, a promise to prioritize the true spirit of sportsmanship over simply securing a win by any means necessary.
Okay, so what about the Olympic flame? Surprisingly, the famous torch relay and the flame itself weren't an original feature of the ancient games. They weren't even in the 1896 modern revival. The flame was actually first introduced decades later at the 1928 Amsterdam Games. Lit in Olympia, Greece, and carried by runners, it was designed to symbolize the eternal light of spirit, knowledge, and life.
Finally, Section 5, Structuring the Olympic Movement, the team behind the spectacle.
Behind the scenes, there's a massive hierarchy represented by all those acronyms you probably hear on the broadcasts. Sitting right at the top, as the global organizer, is the IOC, the International Olympic Committee. Right below them are the national Olympic committees, like the Indian Olympic Association, or IOA, who manage their specific country's participation. And working alongside them are the IFS, the International Sports Federations. They're the ones who actually administer the highly specific rules for sports like gymnastics, swimming, or track on a global level.
Taking a closer look at the leadership, the IOC is guided by a president who serves an 8-year term, alongside 4 vice presidents. But zooming in on the national level, specifically the Indian Olympic Association, there is some really rich history there. We have to take a moment to acknowledge Sir Dorabji Tata. He actually founded the IOA back in 1927 and served as its very first president. He played a completely pivotal role as the first IOC member from India, permanently connecting his nation to the broader Olympic movement.
So after exploring the rich history, the profound philosophy, and the massive organizational effort behind the Games, I want to leave you with this thought. The Olympics aren't just an athletic showcase. They are an educational blueprint. Are you pursuing your own balance among body, will, and mind? I challenge you to take that Olympic philosophy out of the stadium and apply it to your own daily pursuit of excellence. Keep learning, keep pushing your limits, and I'll see you in the next explainer.